Coming up, Colin Cowherd somehow finds the worst take on the Patriots quarterback situation. And is there an MLB player who's having like the worst individual season of anyone ever? And is he a former Red Sox? Both those things may be true. And then we've got guys naming dudes. We're taking you back to the players that only the streets remember and take you down memory lane. All that and more coming up on the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. Music. Welcome into another episode of the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. Last day on the road, back in studio on Monday. Colin Cowherd is really dumb and has been for a long time, to be quite fair. He just throws takes out there for the sake of it. National guy who doesn't have his finger on the pulse of really anything anymore. No city, no team, just Lincoln Riley. That's about it. And he is getting people to listen to his program by throwing out promos about how he never roots for the underdog. So, yeah, that's something I want to listen to anyway. Well, he weighed in on the Patriots quarterback situation and somehow found just the worst take of everyone who's been weighing in on the quarterback situation with the Patriots, myself included, by the way. I know that's been making big headlines. He can't help himself. He just talks himself down into a paper bag and can't talk his way out of it. So this is what he had to say about Joe Milton, who is apparently turning some heads with the people who are at Patriots training camp as opposed to what Drake May is doing.
There's another story that Joe Milton, he was the quarterback, fun to watch from Tennessee, 6th round. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. That Milton has a wow factor, big, stronger arm than May, more athletic than May. And everybody's looking thinking, is the 6th round guy better than the 1st round guy?
Okay, let me get this part out of the way first. Colin Cowherd has never watched Joe Milton play football. Never. You see how we threw that in there? Well, fun to watch. Because people have told you he's fun to watch, Colin. You didn't watch Tennessee football. I guarantee it. You didn't do it. That's fine, but don't pretend like you also know who Joe Milton is, the 6th round pick. You don't know. You've never watched him play a down of football. I guarantee it. And he's taking the ultimate hyperbole, which, to be fair, is being fed by the Boston media. No one is actually thinking that Joe Milton is a better quarterback than Drake May a week and a half into practice at training camp. Nobody thinks that. It is August 2nd. Okay? Is Drake May turning heads yet? Apparently not. No. In fact, I said much yesterday, we have not heard anything that Drake May has been turning heads. But we also went into this draft knowing that he was not going to be the starter right away, that he was the rawest of those 3 top prospects. It is August 2nd. And they're already saying, oh, Joe Milton's better. He's taller. He can throw the ball longer. Maybe. He's better. Colin Cowherd, no fucking clue what he's talking about. He has not been to a practice. He's maybe watched grainy footage of one throw, and he reads, Ben Volin and Michael Holley. That's how he started it, was reading quotes from Volin and Holley. And he just buys it hook, line, sinker. Oh, yeah, Joe Milton's better, which he'll go on to later. But he has even more bad takes in between, because this is what he had to say about the Patriots' philosophy as a franchise over the years, over the Tom Brady years.
But part of it is this. Take out the Randy Moss years, 3 years. Even with Brady, Gronk, and Edelman and no Moss, New England was never an offensive culture. It was briefly with Randy Moss.
Oh, boy, this is so stupid. This is so mind-numbingly stupid. He has just no idea what he's talking about. And I get these national guys don't have the finger on the pulse of all these teams, but the era that he is talking about, the Patriots are the most covered team in the history of sports, and he still doesn't know jack fucking shit about what he's talking about. Okay, so let's take out the Moss years. All right, 2010 was the last Randy Moss year. He played a couple of games for them. In total offense, the Patriots were 8th that year. They got better the next year. 2011, they were second. 2012, they were first. And they were top 10 in every year but up till 2017 except for one. They were first in total offense twice after Moss left. And in every year from 2011 to 2018, they were top 5 in the league in points scored. Every one of those years, Randy Moss did not appear on one of those teams. In 2011, they had one of the best offenses of all time, almost rivaled '07. Randy Moss was not on that team. It would have been the worst defense ever to win the Super Bowl if they got the job done against the Giants. But he hides behind this veil of offensive culture so that when you throw stats at him, he'll say, well, that's not the culture of the Patriots because Bill Belichick was the head coach. And so you use this thinly veiled bullshit to cover your just really stupid point. Offensive culture, because you can't define what that means because it's fucking fugazi. So you just say offensive culture. Not that they weren't good on offense, because they were really good on offense. In fact, most of those years, their offense was leagues ahead of their defense. You got to get back to like 14, 15, 16 for it to be even close. 2011, 2012, 2013, the offense was way better. Post Randy Moss, but not an offensive culture. They had the best quarterback ever. They ran a hurry-up offense. They had a 2 tight end system before anyone was doing that. They were handing off in the backfield to their tight ends. They had better third down backs than anyone in the league. They had the best offensive coordinator in the league. But it wasn't an offensive culture because Colin Cowherd says it's not. Okay, Colin, then what is an offensive culture? What did the Patriots lack, and what were the other teams that had it? Thankfully, Colin weighs in on this as well.
It was never an organization of offensive creativity, abundance, joy. That's Kansas City. That's San Francisco. That's the Rams. Sometimes it's Philadelphia. It's not New England.
Oh, they didn't have enough joy? They didn't have enough offensive joy for you, Colin? What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? Again, he's just these thinly veiled, they don't have offensive abundance or joy because they don't run around like Patrick Mahomes does. What the fuck are you talking about? Again, you're just using fugazi. It doesn't make any sense. How about this for abundance? I am picking one Patriots team, and I'm going to make it fair. I'm not going to pick a Patriots team that won the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to pick a Patriots team that was the top offense in football. I'm going to pick 2011 when they scored 513 points. 513. By the way, it was the next year that they led the league in total offense and points scored. Okay, but the Chiefs have it, right? In 2023, the Chiefs scored 371 points. That's less than 513. How about 2022, another Super Bowl year? They scored 496 points. That's less than 513. How about 2019, another Super Bowl year? 451 points. That's less than 513. Those aren't even better than a non-Super Bowl winning, non-league leading Patriots offense post Randy Moss. Okay, we'll use another team you use. How about the 49ers? 2023, they went to the Super Bowl, 491 points. That's less than 513. 2022 49ers, 450. That's less than 513. He said the Rams as well. Their only Super Bowl year, 2021, 460 points. Last I checked, that's less than 513. So maybe they're not as innovative or have as much fun, whatever the fuck that means, but they were a better offense. So I'm not understanding this. I'm not understanding where this comes from. I know where it comes from. Colin Cowherd says, oh, Rams, Chiefs score lots of points. Belichick, defensive coach. This is offensive culture. Whatever the fuck that means. Oh, but this too. Of all those teams I just mentioned, only the 2019 Chiefs did not have the inherent advantage of playing a whole other game. The other teams had 17 game schedules. The 2011 Patriots had a 16-game schedule, and still none of them scored the points that that team did. And I will remind you, a team that did not lead the league in points and did not win the Super Bowl, like other Patriots offenses in that era did do. God, he's such a moron. He's such a moron. And if you think it's going to get better, it's only going to get worse, because here is Colin's other explanation for why the Patriots did not have an offensive culture.
Here's a prime example. With the greatest quarterback in the history of the sport, they went to 9 Super Bowls in New England. Do you know how many touchdowns they scored in 9 first quarters? None.
This is it. This is where the herd with Colin Cowherd needs to have a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. If you watch this every day, you will contract cancer. This is mind-numbingly stupid. He says they don't have an offensive culture because in the Super Bowls they played in, they didn't score a touchdown in the first quarter. What about the other 3 quarters, Colin? The game is 4 quarters, and so against the best teams in the league, they didn't score in the first quarter? So because in 2007, they scored on the first play of the second quarter, they're not an offensive culture? This is so stupid. By the way, did score in the first drive of the second quarter in Super Bowl 49 as well. This is so dumb. This is the most grasping at straws I've ever seen. How about the one Super Bowl where they didn't score a touchdown in the first half? Oh yeah, that was the most points they scored in a Super Bowl in a game, 34. So what does any of it mean? It doesn't mean a thing. And this is where Cowherd could have something of a point, and instead he goes down this ridiculously stupid road. If you want to say that the Patriots are very offensively challenged right now and they don't have a great offensive coaching staff right now, that would be 100% correct. If you want to say Drake May has the toughest situation of any of the top 3 quarterbacks, that would be correct. But instead, he has to go down this rabbit hole because he's got to put Belichick in the title. He's got to put Brady in the title. He's got to have that SEO. And he says, no, you know what? They were never that good offensively. They never cared about offense, which is like the dumbest take out of all of this. It's bad enough that you think Joe Milton is better than Drake May after 1 week of practice, but to go down this road is even dumber. And yes, he does believe Joe Milton is better. He said as much as he continues to drivel on.
That the 6th-round quarterback, Joe Milton, is going to probably win the job because he's the athlete. He's the bigger, stronger, faster, more dynamic athlete.
Oh, it's August 2nd. It's August 2nd, and he's giving the job to Joe Milton because he's taller than Drake May. Holy shit. How can is there a pill I can take to become this dumb and make the money that Colin Cowherd makes? Please let me know. Please. What are we doing, man? If Joe Milton was a better quarterback because he's a better athlete, why wasn't he taken in the first round? This is the same kind of crap you could have said about Michael Bishop versus Tom Brady 25 years ago. And look how that turned out. It's August 2nd. They're not even doing 11 on 11s yet, let alone a preseason game. And he says, yeah, Joe Milton's going to beat out Drake May for the job. What are we doing here, man? This is the worst take I've heard the whole offseason. It's this Patriots sickness is still there. It's still there with Brady and Belichick. Everything the Patriots did became national. It became huge. It became to the nth degree. And still, somehow, even after both those guys are gone and the Patriots are one of the worst teams in football, we still get that. Because we have gone from, oh, Drake May hasn't been that impressive at practice, to the 6th-round pick is going to beat him out for the job, and they've never been good on offense. That's what we've become. Good Lord, help us all. Colin Cowherd makes a couple $1 million a year. Oh, Where do I need to go to get that kind of money to be that stupid? Good Lord. Back to the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. It has been a long season for the Sox and way, way, way longer for the other Sox. The Chicago White Sox are terrible. I don't know if you know that. They're really, really bad. Um, they won 27 games before the All-Star break, and 3 weeks after the All-Star break, they have won 27 games. They are on pace to become one of the worst teams in history. They are 27 and 80 something now. I think 81. They're on a 17 game losing streak. They have had 2 losing streaks of 14 plus games this year. The first team in 90 years to do that. First team in American League history to do that. The American League is almost 125 years old. This is like impossible levels of futility. Okay. Just atrociously bad. I keep using the term like almost impossibly bad. Like it really is this very difficult to be quite this bad. Um and the thing that strikes me so much about this White Sox futility is they have been mismanaged, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel like gross negligence in more than it is Murphy's Law. They had a what looked like a really great young core in 2021. They won the AL Central. Um, a lot of experts thought they could beat the Astros in that division series. They didn't, but the future looked really bright. You know, I'm talking about guys like Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, I think is actually it. The one who tore his pec and they thought he was dead. That guy. They still had Jose Abreu, who was an MVP in the shortened season of 2020, but was still one of the league's best right-handed hitters. You had the pitching staff. You had Lucas Giolito. You had Dylan Cease. You had Hendricks out of the bullpen. It was a really well-rounded team. You had the even younger guys. You know, Andrew Vaughn, who was the number 3 pick in the draft in 2019. I got to cover him in the Cape League. You had the prospects from the Red Sox, Michael Kopech and Yohan Moncada, and it has just all fallen apart. They just all suck. Every one of them. They suck. Jose Abreu had the decency to leave Chicago and then become the worst hitter in Major League Baseball, but they all became terrible. And in the midst of that, like before the 2023 season, when they're just desperately trying to hold on to what they have, they go out and make the biggest signing in their history. Like, hey, we got to have something going right now. By this point, they're starting to lose some guys. Abreu went in 2020 in that same year, 2022. He had left, and they went out and made the big splash in the offseason, the biggest contract they had ever handed out in free agency, 5 years, $75 million to Andrew Benintendi. This is tough for me, Andrew Benintendi, because he obviously came up with the Red Sox and was someone I was really anticipating. Like I was so excited. I was following Andrew Benintendi through the minors and was so happy when they called him up. And he comes up and he's like every bit the star that we thought he was going to be. Um, he comes up and is just tearing the cover off the ball right away. He hits a home run in his first postseason at bat. He looks like the next coming of Freddie Lynn. That was a legit comparison around here. Fred Lynn, this center fielder who ends up playing left field, who can knock the ball all over the yard, go to the opposite field, doubles machine, really, really smooth, pure hitter, and a good defender as well. Not a great defender, but a good defender. And that was the ascension he was on. I had an Andrew Benintendi jersey in 2017. He made a good run at Rookie of the Year, but that Aaron Judge guy was all right too. He had 50 homers. And he was a crucial part of the middle of that order. and a crucial part of that outfield that was fantastic with him in left, Bradley in center, and Mookie Betts in right. Like Benintendi was a fan favorite. He was a real productive player, around a 300 hitter who could knock the ball out of the yard too. Had some big hits for them in the first few years of his career. I remember a home run off Justin Verlander in the division series in 2017. Go ahead homer in an elimination game, which is what that was. The great diving catch in 2018 in the ALCS to save the game, win game 4. If that had gotten by him, the Astros would have walked it off. Makes this great diving catch. And it's like, we have a natural here. There was a game that was on Fox once, and they had, I still have a picture of it somewhere. They have a picture of him at the plate, and split screen on the other half of it is Ted Williams' retired number. Like that's what we're talking about. I went to a game at Yankee Stadium, he hit 2 home runs. Like this is the kind of hype he was getting. And then he kind of falls off. In 2020, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. And after that, the Red Sox get rid of him. They trade him for Franchi Cordero to Kansas City. They trade him for nothing. And I was upset. I was like, one bad year. I mean, in the COVID year, Christian Yelich had a terrible year in the COVID year. We give him a second chance because he had won the Triple Crown almost. Like, okay. And then Christian Yelich salvaged his career. Andrew Benintendi did not. Did not. He wasn't very good with Kansas City. He had one good half a year that got him a haul for the Yankees to trade for him at the trade deadline. And then he, was just kind of there with the Yankees. And then he gets this great big contract from Chicago. And what he has become is the worst qualified hitter in all of baseball. Just terrible. I watched this great video. It was Jared Carabas. Underdog Sports was the channel, but it was Jay Hay who was on him with what was the name? What was the terrible name of that show? Starting Nine on Barstool. He was good. The name was terrible. And it's a really informative video, kind of breaking down the numbers. But it is really bad. He has the lowest OPS in baseball of anyone that's with a minimum of 300 plate appearances. So anyone who's kind of an everyday player. It's 564. 564 is his OPS. Connor Wong is hitting over 800 for his OPS. Andrew Benintendi's 564 as a former All-Star, man. He's also the worst left fielder in the American League by defensive runs saved. He's only 50% on his stolen bases. He doesn't give you value in any part of the game. None. I don't know if he can pitch, but he might have more value for you there than he does at any other facet. In no way is he valuable. In fact, that's reflected in his WAR. His WAR is negative 2.1, and it's only August 2nd. Negative 2.1. Less than 50 players in MLB in the last 30 years have been that bad. And the record, by the way, is negative 3.3. Jose Guillen had that. Is it Jose or Carlos? For the Marlins, the late 90s. The other was Chris Davis in 2018 with the 0 for 54, 56, 0 for 53, whatever it was, mixed in there. Benintendi has a chance to break that. He has a chance to be the least valuable player on the worst team of all time. Because what we're talking about is like 62 Mets territory. They lost 120 games. The 03 Tigers lost 119 games. This is going to be the worst team in modern baseball history. We're going back to the 1899 Spiders to get this bad. And he's the worst player on the team, and he's the highest paid. What is happening? Oh, that is just the microcosm of the mess the Chicago White Sox are right now. Whew. And look, I know it's fun and sexy to criticize the Chaim Bloom era and everything that Chaim Bloom did, but getting rid of Benintendi was a godsend. You gonna sign him multi-years? No way, man. No way. I'd rather take Verdugo's production. And really, Chaim did not make that many bad moves. In fact, if you take out the one that he was completely forced into doing, that he was backed into a corner, that all of Major League Baseball knew he was backed into the corner because of poor ownership and poor investment in this player in the years leading up to his free agency. If you take away the Mookie Betts deal, he doesn't have bad trades. And this was, and you didn't get anything. You got Franchi Cordero, who was nothing. But what did anyone else get out of Andrew Benintendi? The best thing Kansas City did with Andrew Benintendi was flip him at the deadline and get a couple prospects from the Yankees. But even then, like that's the best you got. They got him for TJ Sikkema, Missouri guy, covered him in the Cape League. Chandler Chapman and Beck Way. Who the hell is that? Who the hell are those guys? So the best thing they did was flip them for a couple of nobodies as well. The White Sox, with Andrew Benintendi's help, are have a negative 229 run differential. Is that the worst in the league? Hell yes, brother. In fact, it is 54 runs worse than the next worst run differential, which is Colorado. Just beat the Red Sox by 2 touchdowns last week. And if you want to talk the American League, they are comfortably more than 2 times worse the next worst run differential. Not the best run differential, the next worst. He's the worst player on the worst team, and I feel so bad, man. Where did it all go wrong for Benintendi? Was it when he rooted for the St. Louis Blues? When they faced the Bruins and he was still on the Red Sox? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but he just fell off the face of the earth. No major injury, just forgot how to play baseball. And it stinks, man. I'm telling you, I maybe not Hall of Famer, but I thought he was going to be a perennial All-Star candidate. I thought he was going to be someone who made 6 or 7 All-Star teams. I really did. I'm thinking Freddie Lynn. I'm thinking Dustin Pedroia. And he just did not become that. He was never a great outfielder. He became a terrible outfielder. He was never a great hitter. Became the worst hitter in baseball. Never that great a base runner. Became just terrible. Awful. Where did it all go wrong for Andrew Benintendi, man? I thought he was going to be a Red Sox great and a foundational piece of championship teams. Flash forward, he's the worst player on the worst team possibly ever. So yeah, we could really be looking at the worst single season of any hitter ever if you take all those things into account. Oof. Let's get to some better hitters, including a former White Sox who almost became a Red Sox on Guys Naming Dudes on the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. That's next. It is Guys Naming Dudes, Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, Braden Murray, Zach Burke, alongside Cam Stewart of the Cam Show of Rogue Media Sports Network. It is that time. It is Friday. We are guys. We are naming dudes. We are talking about the guys, or the dudes, if you will, who the streets remember from sports years gone by. And this is a very special Guys Naming Dudes segment today, gentlemen, because we ran into, some of us, a dude last night, a potential dude Hall of Famer. In fact, he might have been Zach's first ever selection on Guys Naming Dudes. It's pretty close to the beginning.
I think he was. I'll wait till you're done. I have the card on my desk here still.
All right. So potential member future when we do the Guys Naming Dudes Hall of Fame. I'm at the Charlotte Knights game last night, and they're facing the Norfolk Tides, which is important to mention because the Tides are the AAA affiliate of the Orioles. The Knights are the AAA affiliate of the White Sox, which could probably beat the White Sox. And I walk in, they've got this long line going on one of the concourses, and I'm like, what is this? Some special appearance or something? Mm-hmm. And they've got the billboard they got there. signing autographs, the legend of the game, 3-time All-Star, 50 home runs in 1996, and Pros versus Joe's superstar. Brady Anderson is signing autographs for free at the Charlotte Knights game.
There, I should have. If I would have
Former
known,
Red
we could
Sox
have given it
farmhand
to
Brady
you. But yeah,
Anderson. I didn't realize, we must have talked about it when we talked about him, but he played 15 years in the majors.
yeah.
That's pretty good. Like, he's getting a pension from Major League Baseball right now, so he can do stuff like that. And was traded with Curt Schilling as both Red Sox farmhands from Mike Boddicker to the Orioles. And he becomes a team Hall of Famer. Curt Schilling becomes a pretty good player too, although not with Baltimore. So anyway, just wanted to mention that very special moment in Guys Naming Dudes history.
It's nice.
Last night.
There's some overlapping there. Like, it's, I like to see that these dudes that we are showing respect to, like, I think the universe is willing them towards us. Like, for whenever we have this Hall of Fame, that maybe, like, they'd show up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really wanted to ask about his Sabrina the Teenage Witch cameo, because if we ever have him on the show, that's pretty much all I'm interested in. 50 and 96. That's what they had on there. Who could believe it?
Wow.
Anyway, so Guys Naming Dudes, 3 of us have a dude ready to go. Who wants to go first?
Well, since everybody's chomping at the bit, I can.
Zach, let's hear it.
All right.
You did spoil the dude that you had picked.
I did spoil the dude.
And I'm not going to say it because I think you should use it for later.
Okay.
Like, write that down. In a couple months, we won't even remember that off-camera discussion.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think now that I have confirmation, like, for sure, I'll go ahead and keep it there. I just was making sure it wasn't a thing that I remembered.
Although
he
might be. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Not that I saw. Like, I'm telling you.
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. Yeah. But I don't know. I felt like for like half a second there, I was like, anyway, you guys don't know who we're talking about. Yeah. So, Zach, go ahead. Start us off.
All right. So I got first familiar with this player back in his college days. He is a Big 12 player back then. He was 2-time second team All Big 12. First time our team All Big 12. So 3 years he was either second team or, first team. And he was also a first-team All-American in 2003. So a very impressive career as a college player.
Nothing for the sport yet.
That's true. I can. Do you want me to tell you the sport though? Or you want to? I can tell you that he was drafted in the 2005 NFL Draft.
Okay, there we go.
As a 4th-round pick.
Okay.
While he played during his career, he was a Super Bowl champion once, 3-time Pro Bowler, and that was 3 consecutive years he was a Pro Bowler. He was a member of the 2010s NFL All-Decade Team.
Oh, good long career.
Second-team All-Pro in 2014, and he is a member of the San Diego Chargers 50th anniversary team.
Okay.
Which, funny enough,
I think I know who it is.
Were not the years he didn't make those 3 Pro Bowls till after he left San Diego.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I think I still might have it. Offensive side?
Yes. Yeah, he does. I will add to his thing. He's not in the NFL Hall of Fame. Sure. He has an NFL record for most all-purpose yards in a season, which was also not with the San Diego Chargers, but instead was with
the New Orleans Saints.
Yes, it was.
Fellow.
He is a college football Hall of Famer though, and I watched him single-handedly. Well, it was a team effort, but watching him run all over Oklahoma in a Big 12 title game was a lot of fun.
Yes. Braden knows who this is. Braden knows this name, although you guys probably didn't overlap much. Darren Sproles.
You are correct.
Yeah. Oh.
Dude,
this was Deuce Vaughn before Deuce Vaughn, Braden. Mm-hmm. Like literally the same thing. Your mic's off or something. Like it was the same guy. 5'6", 5'7", just ran all over dudes.
You're right.
There you go. We got you. This was like a carbon copy. I mean, well, Deuce Vaughn was a carbon copy of Darren Sproles.
But
remember
For college. What Big 12?
Kansas
Kansas
State.
State.
Ah.
So
Oh,
the same thing. Do you remember? Were you at that game in 2020, Braden? That Deuce Vaughn just went ridiculous against Baylor. That
Yeah,
rain game.
that was my last game before going back home.
Really? That was
Yeah.
actually a very fun game. It's one of the best, like one of my favorite games I've ever been to.
We lost by like 30.
No, we did not. We won on a game-winning field goal. 2022, they lost by
Oh, I
28
wasn't at that
points
game. No. I was thinking of a different game.
Oh,
to
man.
Kansas State at home. So,
That was good.
yeah, it was raining. It was during COVID, and it was like right after Thanksgiving. They sucked. It was their second win of the season. So like nobody was there. We had like club seats. It was pretty cool. And I hadn't been to the game in a while. So Darren Sproles, good pick. Good pick.
Sproles.
I'm surprised he didn't make any of the Pro Bowls with the Chargers, though.
No, here's the thing. All three of those, I'm pretty sure, are with the Eagles from 2014, 2015,
Okay.
2016, which was the last team he played for. So that's kind of,
Interesting, man.
he didn't become a Pro Bowl. Same year, he was an All-Pro, that second team All-Pro, and the Super Bowl champs were with the Eagles, too.
Because he was like definitely a productive player
Mhm.
with the Chargers and the Saints.
I will say he also finished fifth in Heisman Trophy voting that 2003 season, which was his breakout year. What I was talking about, the performance against Oklahoma, they won 35-7 over number 1 Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game, which I'm pretty sure Kansas State was unranked. Unranked when they did that. And he had 235 rushing yards and 88 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown.
And if I'm getting my
carved
years
him
right,
up.
I think OU still went to the national championship game.
I'm pretty sure you are correct.
BCS, and they got their shit rocked by USC.
No. You're
Okay.
right and
All right.
wrong. That was
Right and wrong.
They did go to the national championship game, but that's the year they lost by a touchdown to Nick Saban and LSU.
LSU. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yep. All right, Darren Sproles. That's a good one.
Yep.
It's a real good one.
Yeah,
good for him, man. All pro, like 10 years into his career.
He made it work.
Damn.
14 years. Yep.
Braden?
Cameron?
Yes.
My guy. So I don't really recall
My guy.
watching this guy play.
Okay.
I just know him. So let me paint a picture.
As a legend.
It's, I don't know, what year was this? 2011, 2012. You're at your friend Mark's house.
Yeah, as we
And
all are.
Mark
I did have
has
a friend named Mark.
MLB, like, I think it was 2K at the time. MLB 2K11
Okay.
for the Nintendo DS.
We've all been there, yeah. It's
And-
very relatable.
Oh, man.
And that is where I first played with this guy. This guy is not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Played with this guy, this
But he's
grown
in
man.
2K11. That's the.
It's basically the Hall of Fame. I mean,
That's
He
true.
was drafted in
it's like Barry
2000.
Bonds on the Legends team.
Drafted in 2000 from University of California.
Okay.
He played for one team. He played for two teams, but one team for the majority of his career.
Was it the Phillies?
Okay.
It was the Phillies.
Okay.
He's a 6-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger.
Okay. I have two ideas, but I just don't know the stats right offhand.
Did he have a catch with Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
It's possible. They're from the same
I'm just
city.
throwing a guess.
Is he an interior infielder?
Interior infielder.
Yeah,
Is it Chase
Yeah.
Utley?
it is Chase Utley.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking Jimmy Rollins too, and then I realized though after I said interior infielder, like a shortstop's not included in that too. But anyway, yeah.
Did you watch It's Always Sunny, Braden?
I've seen the first 4 seasons.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one where like he's like going to some charity event that Chase Utley's at. He's got like a letter written to him, like, "Can we have a catch?" You know, like, "My dad sucks. Can we have a catch?" Yeah, that Silver Slugger thing probably gave it away.
Yeah.
Chase Utley, man, Yeah, do you have some of his career stats in front of you or like accomplishments? He had other than the Silver Sluggers, what a career he had, man.
Well, of course, he has the World Series
Yep.
in 2008. The World Series lost to my Astros in 2017. That's not important, but I just want
And
to
the
put
World
that
Series
out there.
lost in
The
09, yeah.
asterisk, yeah, okay.
Career hitting 1,800.
Wait, career
259
hits? Career hits.
Career hits.
Okay. It's like that's a hell of an average.
Batting average was 275.
Okay.
That dipped a lot his last
It
few
did
years.
with the Dodgers, right? I think that's what
Yeah.
he closed out.
Yeah. His career high though is 332.
Mm-hmm.
MVP 8, couple of years. MVP 14.
I'm actually a little surprised he didn't crack any higher than 8th.
Yeah.
Really?
He had, like that when the Phillies were really good, like 07, 08, 09. By the way, Rollins won the MVP in 07. Like Utley was a really good hitter. Like he was in the home run derby a couple of times. Weird swing for a home run hitter, pretty compact swing. Especially for a left-handed home run hitter. But yeah, dude, he could rake in his prime. He was maybe the best player on those teams.
I would think so.
Like Howard had a great peak. Actually. Jimmy Rollins had obviously a pretty good peak too. And then you look at the pitchers, but like if you had a face of the franchise back then, it was probably Chase Utley.
Yeah, him or Rollins. It's like those
Rollins
are the two guys I think of.
If Howard never got hurt, like he would have been a Hall of Famer.
When he was just smashing too, like that Phillies team they were good.
In 2006, he played for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
Woo! Patriot.
He also had a 35-game hit streak.
Ooh,
which is the second longest in Phillies history.
That's legit.
Wait, how long was it again?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Rollins had a really
35 games.
That's nice.
Rollins was 38.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to have anybody beat DiMaggio's record? We're not, are we?
No.
Okay.
No.
Unlikely.
No, probably not. No. The same year that Ted Williams hit 400 during a whole season and DiMaggio got the MVP.
We should do a guys naming dudes, except it's just records that'll never be broken.
And then we'll have a special guys naming dudes on Friday the 13th, which is in September, by the way, where it's just 3 great players. Just Barry Bonds, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan.
We can do that for sure. We just find the most decorated.
I
already know who my guy is, and Cam will love it. So, it's a Celtic baby. Let's go.
All right. Braden, good pick, Chase Utley. That's a good one, man. And that honestly really captures the spirit of guys naming dudes. Like if he didn't really have like debilitating injuries. He had some injuries at the end of his career, but he just kind of fell off. Much like Andrew Benintendi, but without the peak.
He got 28.8% of the vote his first time on the ballot. So in a couple years, not be able to.
Was this his first year?
Yeah.
Okay.
28%, man,
on his first time.
I mean, that's
not bad. He's not a Hall of Famer.
He'll get close to it. He might be one of those.
Although people will argue,
guys, like it's all said and done.
He's just as good a player as Scott Rowland was. This is what sucks. Scott Rowland moves the bar on this for me so bad. Oh, man. All right. We've got 2 down. Darren Sproles, Chase Utley. Mine is also in the world of baseball.
Okay.
I was reminded of him the other day
with Brady Anderson?
With this hint that isn't going to help you guys at all, but I kind of want to say it.
Okay.
I was reminded of this when I did the top 5 Red Sox trade deadline deals, because this guy was almost traded for Nomar in the 03 offseason going into 04. It would have been a massive 3-team trade that would have sent Nomar out to Texas, would have sent Manny Ramirez to Chicago, and would have brought in Alex Rodriguez to the Red Sox and this guy to the Red Sox, who was a pretty potent player in his day. In fact, a 6-time All-Star. He won the batting title in 2007. Over 2,000 hits for his career, over 300 batting average, and weirdly only played for 2 teams. You know, we see this a lot with baseball when guys are at the end, like they just have a couple of years where they're like bouncing around. This guy played for 2 teams in a 15-year career that went from 97 to 2011. Won 3 Silver Slugger awards. Both those teams were in the AL Central. Played for.
So he was a White Sox?
Yep.
Was the other one a Tiger?
Yep.
Okay. I think
Great
I might know
name.
who it is. Braden, do you have a guess?
No.
Is it Maglio Ordonez?
It's Maglio Ordonez. Never heard, Braden? Never heard of him?
Dude.
That's too bad. That's too bad for your generation.
That is a solid dude.
Look, not to pat myself on the back, but I think that's why Maglio's a great pick here. I'm trying to think of like a comp. I mean, he was a really good player. Obviously not Mike Trout or anything, not Freddie Freeman, but like a pretty obviously a very good average hitting outfielder who also had some power. Like he was a 25 and 100 guy all those years too. But yeah, 6-time All-Star, won the batting title. I'm trying to also, by the way, elected mayor in his hometown in Venezuela.
Ooh, nice.
in 2013. A big Hugo Chavez guy, so do with that what you will, if you would have voted for him or not. In fact, sometimes he would get booed by other Venezuelan fans who were not Hugo Chavez fans. And that kind of became a controversy throughout his career. But a guy who has one of the great moments in Detroit Tigers history. In 2006, the ALCS, in Game 4, they were ready to sweep the A's, but they were tied in the 9th inning, and he hit a walk-off 3-run homer to win the pennant. The next guy to do that in that scenario was Braden's great Jose Altuve in 2019 to hit the home run to clinch the pennant in a walk-off fashion. It was a great moment. The Tigers were awful at the beginning of the 2000s. In 2003, they had probably the worst team in modern history. Dude, that wasn't an expansion team.
I'm gonna look that up then.
They lost like 118 games, I want to say 115. Like if we're talking the worst teams in the modern era, the other one would be the 62 Mets, which were an expansion team. They lost 120 games, and both of those bad seasons could be surpassed by this year's White Sox team, which we talked about earlier in the show. It's just horrific. Anyway, in 03, they bottomed out. They were horrible. And before 04, that's when they went and got Maglio Ordonez, who was kind of the beginning of changing things around. Not the only reason, but was a big part of them becoming a team that was one of the worst ever to go into the World Series within 3 years. In 07, he finished second in the MVP race to A-Rod. He hit 363, which was the batting title year, 28 homers, and 139 RBI. One of the best seasons ever by a Tiger. His batting average was the highest for a Tiger in 46 years. Then the last one to hit higher was back in 1937. He led the league in doubles that year. No Tiger had done that since 1950. His 139 RBI were the most by a Tiger since 1961. And he's the old Rocky Colavito had more in 1961. He's the only Tiger with more in the past 70 years. He also hit 2 home runs in 1 inning. One of only 2 Tigers ever to do that. That's a pretty good feat. Mm-hmm. Had an OBP of 434. 434 the whole season. Only one Tiger in the past 60 years had a higher slugging percentage than Maglio's 595. That was Norm Cash in 1961. Got his 2000th career hit in 2010. And the Tigers declined his $15 million option after 2011, announced his retirement in early 2012. Maglio Ordonez, man.
He would have been
what
on
a
that 2K11 that you played, Braden.
Probably.
The shell of Maglio Ordonez. He would have been down to like a 79 overall.
Yeah, man,
I just learned that one of my guys, historically, was on that 03 Detroit Tigers team.
That you've named in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Were they real? Hold on.
Oh, man. There's some... who was on that team, man.
Wait, you didn't do Carlos. Who did you do? Hold on. No,
This is
a
going to be good. If
terrible
I get, I'm
team.
going to pull up this roster in front of me because
AJ Hinch was one of the catchers on that team.
hell yes.
An infielder named Warren Morris. Do not remember him.
Yes, Warren Morris, college baseball legend.
Okay.
He hit a walk-off home run to win the World Series for
That's who I was thinking of.
No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. I gotta get it here. Where's the roster?
Who did you?
Jeremy Bonderman would be a good one. He came in after 3 years of high school. Yeah. Fernando Rodney.
You didn't do Dimitri Young. You didn't do Dean Palmer.
Oh, I know who you did. Yeah, it was your first one. It was your first one.
Oh, was it Carlos Pena?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he would have been traded to Detroit during 2002 during Moneyball.
Oh, he was there from the money.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. What was their final record? I just had it in front of me.
I thought you said they had 108 losses.
43 and 119.
43 wins. And the White Sox are going to be worse. They have 27 wins on August 2nd. Oh, man. Dave Dombrowski, the GM, man. Pretty successful guy. Jesus, they were so bad. They were so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the White Sox are even worse. But glad we get to talk about that 03 Tigers team. One of these days we'll do 06 Tigers, which was a terrible World Series in a string of terrible World Series. 03 was pretty good, 6 games between the Marlins and the Yankees. That comes after a 7-game series. And then 04, Red Sox sweep. The Cardinals don't have a single lead in any of the games. 05, sweep. 06, terrible 5-game series. 07, sweep. 08, 5-game series. Like we just had a terrible run after like the most arguably like the mid 90s to the mid 2000s is like I think the peak of baseball, and then we get ruined by just these terrible World Series one after the other. Anyway, that's Guys Naming Dudes. It's Braden Murray. It's Zach Burke. It's me. It is the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm back in the studio this week. Whoop whoop. So we'll see you then. Have a good weekend, everybody.
We are Rogue Media Sports.